You can't say that COVID-19 changed the world, the worst thing that's ever happened, and that not provide us basic information about actually what did happen. So this week we had news that we kind of probably already knew or believed in theory, but had essentially confirmed by a whistleblower who testified to Congress, a CIA official who was subpoenaed and testified, and accused Fauci and company of participating and orchestrating something we're all very much aware of now, a cover-up. And his key allegation was the CIA generally agreed from the get-go that the COVID virus, COVID-19, was man-made and wasn't natural. Didn't arise, from the transmission from an animal to a human. It was made in a lab in Wuhan or something like that. And Fauci kind of rigged it in a way to curtail that conclusion from being pursued aggressively or shared with the American people in a substantial way. Here he testified, and here's a little bit of his testimony the other day before Rand Paul's committee investigating this issue.
Public health policy would have been very different had the American public been made aware that a virus from a lab in China was going to serve as the foundation for an emergency use authorization mRNA products being mandated by the former administration. Dr. Fauci's role in the cover-up was intentional. Dr. Fauci influenced the analytical process and findings by leveraging his position to ensure the IC consulted with a conflicted list of curated subject matter experts, public health officials, and scientists. This included some of the authors of the paper, The Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2, and other public health experts who have been in his orbit for the last 20-plus years.
Yeah, so you can see the full testimony. We'll provide a link below to C-SPAN, et cetera. But how much more evidence do we need there was a cover-up? And the cover-up, in my view, was self-interested, because the challenge that Fauci's people understood almost immediately, based on information that Judicial Watch uncovered, virtually everything we know about COVID and China and the cover-up and the abuses early on was because of Judicial Watch's FOIA investigations and litigation. But they knew immediately there was an issue because they knew we've been funding Wuhan, specifically investigating coronaviruses, the bat viruses. And we knew immediately that we didn't know immediately because they've known since we began doing it that they were funding gain-of-function research, even though they weren't supposed to. This is why there needs to be a criminal investigation of what went on. Lies, when you have Fauci saying there was no gain-of-function research, that was not true. Whether it's perjury or not, I guess people will argue over. But there's no doubt there was fraud involved here, because there were contracts. They weren't supposed to do gain-of-function research. They kept on doing it, and they whitewashed it. And then we had COVID-19. Indeed, Judicial Watch uncovered almost immediately that the FBI was actually pursuing this line of inquiry in 2020. Where did it go? Nowhere. Deep state protects itself. And I'm sorry, we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop pushing for information and answers on this. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that COVID-19 changed the world, the worst thing that's ever happened, and that not provide us basic information about actually what did happen. So we just filed a lawsuit recently, for example, against the Director of National Intelligence, the Office of Director of National Intelligence, ODNI, for records on COVID-19 origins and coronavirus research. What did we ask for the documents? This is the stuff that always gets me mad. Yeah, we asked for the documents at the end of essentially 2024. Give us records about the coronavirus research, who knew what and when about what was going on in China. You know, and the ODNI, they were involved in this. They had information. So it's not like we're asking the wrong agency. ODNI is, you know, I think it's an unusual agency, or maybe not that unusual in the sense I don't know if it's really needed. But in theory, it's supposed to kind of be a central clearinghouse and organizing entity for our nation's intelligence agencies. Rand Paul highlighted how members of the U.S. intelligence community were in contact with Dr. Ralph Baric, a coronavirus expert and collaborator with Dr. Zhengli Shi of the Wuhan Institute. She was the bat lady, well before the outbreak of the coronavirus COVID epidemic. In a September 2015 email, 5 years before COVID, the Office of DNI and the CIA contacted Dr. Baric, a scientist who collaborated with the Wuhan Institute. That's a quote from Rand Paul's letter. To discuss, quote, a possible project relating to coronavirus evolution and possible natural human adaptation. So what the heck was going on there? Now, we know the National Institutes of Health, the NIAID, National Institute for Allergic and Infectious Diseases, which is run by Fauci for decades, gave money to Baric, EcoHealth, in order to work with Wuhan. Did you know that the CIA also wanted to have a dibs on it? Did you? My guess is you didn't. It probably doesn't surprise you, but it ought to concern you. Was this an intelligence operation? A bioweapons operation? COVID-19 affected the lives of every American and countless lives around the world. If we don't want something like this to happen again, we need all the facts, and that's why we sued ODNI. Yeah, so to get the best summary, or a great summary, of our work on exposing the COVID pandemic, China, etc., get our most recent book, Rights and Freedoms in Peril, an investigative report on the left's attack on America. It's a great book. I encourage you to get all of the Judicial Watch books. If you want to know about the history of corruption from Clinton through the present day almost, you want to get all of these books. But Rights and Freedoms in Peril is the most recent book, and it's a great way to support Judicial Watch as well, because obviously a portion of maybe it's not obvious, but a portion of every purchase goes to help Judicial Watch as well. But when you look at everything we're doing, and I go through this obviously in the book. So look at this, look at the press release page that goes through everything we did. March 26 lawsuit. Sued the Defense Department in June 25. In May 2025, we got records about the vaccination scheme and the cover-up of the claims for injuries and deaths. I mean, just recently as well. We got FBI records suggesting the FBI knew from the get-go it was probably a human-made virus. FDA records on the vaccine. Records from the Health and Human Services Agency that included initial grant applications and annual reports to NIH describing the aim of its work with the Wuhan Institute of Virology was to create mutant viruses to better predict the capacity of our coronaviruses to infect people. How is that not proof positive that gain of function was processes were being used to create these viruses? I mean, I've been talking about COVID since the get-go, obviously, here at Judicial Watch. And we talk about gain of function as kind of a technical term. You're wondering if you're able to communicate it. The government figured out how to describe it. Mutant viruses. They're creating mutant viruses. And the evidence strongly suggests one of those mutant viruses got out and is responsible for the pandemic. But it's lawsuit after lawsuit that has uncovered the lies about the vaccines, the secrets about the COVID cover-up, what they didn't want you to know, what they were doing with China. It's unbelievable. Working hand in glove with the Chinese to cover up what was going on. And we're not going to stop. I mean, this testimony this week shows you that we've actually got more work to do. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.